Hey everyone. This is a recording. We won't be doing any live shows for Women in Tech Wednesdays until further notice. Today we have Shakani Chiradza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Shakani today who will be telling us about how it is being a student in tech and how she has maybe overcome how it is being a student during a whole pandemic. So, Shakani, do you care to tell us more about yourself? Who is Shakani Chiradza?
Um, Hi, everyone. Um, well, if nicknames count, I usually go by Shaki. But yeah, my name is Shakani Chiradza, and I'm 24 years old. I'm a final year IT student at the Chinhoyi University of Technology in Zimbabwe. And I guess I kind of dabble in technology, sort of. And I also do some voluntary work. I volunteer for a mental health organization called Create Sim, and I'm currently the Google Developer Student Club lead for the Chinhoyi University of Technology. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so you said you doing double technology. What did you say about that?
Um. Oh, dabbling. Yeah. I mean, because I do learn technology at school. It's part of my degree. But when I started the degree, I also kind of like gained an interest in it outside of class. So I have been pursuing some coding related extracurricular stuff. Like I take online courses. I also learn languages that are outside of my scope, and also try and do projects and expand my knowledge outside of the classroom. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I could say I do a bit of technology here and there.
Okay, so what's your stack? Like, what are the programming languages that into, and what are the ones that you do outside? What are the ones that you do in school? And what got you into that, I want to actually do something outside of school or campus work and actually, dabble in technology?
Okay, so I my first programming language was C, which is what I did at school. So the moment I walked into that classroom and then we started coding there, that was the first time I had ever coded ever. And
Yeah.
I must have been like 21. And then I really loved that language. Not for any particular practical reasons, but more because of it was my first programming language, and I really liked what was going on there. I mean, of course, we were making basic things, and we didn't get deep into the technicalities of all that, but it was quite interesting. And then we moved on to C sharp, and then after we did C sharp, I spent the entire holiday after that semester ended. I spent the entire holiday like brushing up my knowledge on C sharp, but it
Yeah.
has been a while since I did that. I will admit I pursued other languages because we also did Java, and then we then did Python, which I would say probably then became my primary language because I really liked the way it just made everything easier. I'm not saying it's easy or everything like that,
Yeah.
but most of the methods that I had to create in C and all that in the other languages, most of it is already done in Python, so you can focus more on the higher levels of the project and making it do what you want it to do and all that. So this is when I started actually trying to build projects there. And then we also did web development. HTML and CSS is more of what I grasped. And then I also took a certification on my own at Free Code Camp. It was free at the
Yeah.
time. I didn't have the money to pay for courses. So I kind of went for what was affordable, which is basically nothing. And I got a certification for for responsive web design, where we used HTML and CSS. So that was something that I did long after the semester was over. And
Yeah.
then more recently, last year, I picked up the framework Flutter, which uses
Oh
the
yeah.
Dart programming language. And it's, I have to say, it's probably on par with Python for me, because Python has some graphic user interface libraries and all that, but Flutter, I felt like for mobile development, I could like see my creations come to life right there and
Mm.
then. And the fact that it you don't have to write different code for iOS and Android, it's just the same
Mm-hmm.
code all around, made it so much easier for me. So, yeah, uh, it was basically where you asked what made me decide to pursue outside of my classroom. It was the interest that I saw that I had in these things in the
Yeah.
classroom. So I just decided, let me not restrict myself to what's going on in the class.
Mm.
Might as well go ahead and pursue it outside. Yeah.
Outside too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I heard about Python, more of a C sharp dev because that's what kind of like that's how I got into coding. The first programming language I've ever used was C sharp, but I heard that Python is also like it's kind of more English based. You actually understand what's going on with the code. There isn't much to do. It's not easy, but like it's more understandable than the other like programming languages in terms of English. It's readable in a way. So that's what I've heard. And I also just wanted to get into Python, but then I heard like as much as it's in demand, people who are graduating from it now are the ones who are going to like occupy those jobs. So I was like, you know what, let me just stick to C sharp. Maybe in the future also like some gaming programming languages, C++, I think. So
Uh-huh.
probably, yeah, that too. But then also, what I want to know now is what got you into tech. You are here. You're in the you're a student in tech now. You want to pursue a career in tech, but what got you into tech in the first place?
All right. Yeah. What got me into tech, it was kind of funny because it's not like I was born passionate about it or always
Mhm.
thought I would pursue a career in tech or anything like that. In fact, a couple years ago, I never would have thought that this would have been my path. But
Yeah.
I tried the whole university thing where I was doing science related subjects like
Mhm.
biology, chemistry, physics, and all that. And it didn't really work out for me. So at that time, I didn't know what I would venture into next. So basically, this sounds oversimplified, but that is exactly what happened. I literally walked into the school and I was like, I came to register. And they're like,
Yeah.
what do you want to register for? And then I looked at the list of courses that they were offering, and IT seemed the most viable then, because I was like, okay, I'm going to leave the science related subjects and commerce, business, and all that. I never really felt like it was my thing. So,
Mhm.
yes, I just chose that course, and I was surprised by the interest that I had in it. And I also have to point out on the network of friends that I had, the people that I knew, because for now, the leadership thing that I'm doing, the Google Developer Student Clubs, it's also tech related. I mean, you don't have to be heavily tech based to be a leader, but like you also find a lot of tech based stuff. what got me into that was a friend of mine was a former lead at a different school. And then he
Mm,
came, he's like, oh, you know what? Since you're doing this tech thing, you're doing this IT degree, you seem to be doing well in it. Why don't you try this out? So at first I was reluctant because I didn't know what was required of me. And I thought,
yeah.
I had to be some kind of expert or something like that. But no, he kind of pushed me into it. And I will admit that although I had an interest initially, when I got into this program, that's when I started networking a bit more. My horizons were broadened. That's also where I found out about Flutter and all that. And
Yeah.
now I can go to events like virtual events like Google's I/O event, which was I think a week ago, where they showcase all the technological developments that they've made and all that. And I can actually be excited about that, you know.
Mm.
So
And actually
yeah, so
understand
now
what's going on.
yeah, sort of understand what's going on. Yeah, so now I can attend these events. I attend these events, forming a network of people who are into the same things or do the same things. And I suppose the mentorship that we receive from the leaders in our groups and all that. So yeah,
Mm.
it
Okay.
has helped keep my interest going.
Yeah. So I feel like the program is more like the Microsoft Learn Students Ambassadors program. So do you guys also like host events as students?
Oh yes, we do host events. It is exactly like that. It's the Google version
Oh.
of it. Yeah, so you can host events where you invite speakers to speak to your members, and
Mm,
you can do workshops where you give tutorials to people on, um, for example, Android. If you pick an Android path, um, for mobile development, you can teach people the basics. And I think generally the intention is to create an interest in people, even those who aren't pursuing computer science or IT related degrees. And
mm,
I think even in your free time, some of these things are things that people can pursue without doing the degree. So
yeah,
yeah, I think it's to create the interest, form the networks, and basically give people an environment or people to turn to, and yeah, show them what's going on in the industry and all that. So yeah, we do host those kind of events.
so it's just like telling people more about Google technologies and also just technology in general.
Yeah, it's not exclusively Google technologies, but yes, we do. I also and the others, we primarily based on Google technologies, but yeah,
Mm,
for example, the solution challenge, that was a challenge that happened. The due date was like 2 months ago.
yeah.
Yes, the deadline was like 2 months ago. Basically, it's people build, they identify a problem in their community that's related to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. You identify a problem related to that, and then you build a software solution, or you can implement some hardware if you like as well.
Mm,
And you have to at least use one Google technology. So basically, they let you get creative and make all these things not only limited to Google technologies, but you at
yeah.
least need to use at least one of the technologies or more if you wish. But yeah, it's kind of
Hmm.
like that. Hmm.
Okay, so during like these kinds of competitions, do you guys, even outside competitions, do you guys have like mentorship programs within the program too, or do you need to like go outside of that to actually find a mentor?
Um, Mostly, I think there are some actual Google developers who act as mentors of the student leads, and we are in groups with them, and I think they provide the support that we need and mentorship and all that. They also have kind of these workshops that they do as well, because after the developer student clubs there's also a higher level that people can get into, which would be the Google developer experts, right? So when you find yourself being an expert in a particular technology, you can apply for that position.
Yeah.
So they usually have, like, I'm not sure how many they have in a particular region. I'm pretty sure it's one per country or two or something like that. But those clubs are basically usually intertwined or have like joint events together, or places where we can interact with the DSCs as well and the Google experts. So there you can find mentorship and all that. And also during the solution challenge, there was this website that they gave us called Papillon, and you could basically go there and ask questions in real time from all these experts and all that. So
Yeah.
it's not like you actually had to seek for guidance outside. I mean, you
Mm.
could, but then there was also provisions made within the clubs.
Yeah. Okay, so you are like a student, like I am, during like a pandemic, and I'm sure a lot of other students have been struggling with, but now I'm sure it's a lot better now. But like in the beginning of the pandemic, it was very hard to adapt to a new kind of learning, learning. What can I call it? Learning skill. You need to adapt to virtual learning, online learning. So, how did you um, adapt to that? Or, like, how was your mental health affected? Because I'm sure, like, there was a lot of, I don't see my friends, I don't go to campus anymore, there's less interaction with them. Or there is interaction, but it's just on a virtual basis. So, how did you deal with that being a student during the pandemic?
Um, I have to admit, for most of the pandemic, I was actually doing a year-long internship. So in 2020, January, that's when I started the internship.
Mm,
So for pretty much most of the pandemic, I finished in December. I was at work. So besides the few months that we were sent home, I basically haven't been to school in a while. And the e-learning thing, I could say I only pretty much started it this year, I think in April, which is
mm,
where they started teaching us virtually and all that. And for Zim, I'm not sure if I can speak for other countries, but particularly Zim, you get this issue of people living in pretty low income households, pretty much majority of the students. So when that happened, most of the students could not exactly access the virtual learning
mm,
resources that were put up by the school, because the school needed you to register first and then be able to access the recordings and the stuff that are posted by lecturers and all that. But see, not everyone could afford that. So luckily, our lecturers started making provisions where some of them would teach on YouTube, which again, there was kind of like a high-ish attendance initially, but then that attendance kind of dropped, as
mm,
the data issues became like an issue. But then there were also those that taught via WhatsApp, and I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of chaotic.
mm.
So
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
it's a bit chaotic because
Yeah.
you get some lecturers wanting us to participate, and then they want everyone to participate. So maybe they ask a question, and since everyone is supposed to be participating, you get like hundreds of messages. Sometimes people responding with the same answer and all that. And now the lecturer's important notes are lost within all that stream of messages. So you just like
Mm,
have to keep up. And also, I think most of us also struggle with home environments, you know,
yeah,
because maybe you're supposed to be doing chores, or you're supposed to be
yeah,
doing other things, or just basically they don't want to see you sitting down kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah,
but now you have to tell them that no, I'm actually in school, and all they do is see you on WhatsApp. So that
yeah,
kind of
true.
becomes, yeah, that kind of becomes hard for adjustment and all that. But we've been trying to manage, because for some of us who could, we tried as best as we could to use external resources.
Mm,
But it has been a struggle, not gonna lie. But I think it has given us kind of like this ability to then work on our own, and not necessarily rely on the fact that okay, the lecturer will explain all this, because even with the provisions that they made for us, it doesn't exactly cover everyone, and it's kind of a difficulty. And we are also learning to do a lot of work in a very short space of time.
yeah,
So yeah, I think I adapted by being able to self study, but for me, it wasn't exactly new. Like I said, I was pursuing things already outside of class. So now
yeah,
it's like I'm doing more of that, but with class kind of like an additional side thing, but not the main thing that I rely on now.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that is really hectic. I wouldn't say that I go through the same thing because most of the time we do online learning and they do provide us with data. So it's not,
Oh,
yeah, they provide us with data and
well,
it's not,
can't
it doesn't,
relate.
and I think it's just because we on a bursary thing that NASFAS, it's like a National Students Fund Association kind of thing here in South Africa. But I'm not sure that they are similar bursaries in other countries. So that is that is really hectic. Just hearing about what other countries go through during the pandemic. Some people, I'm sure, even dropped out due to a lot of pressure, and honestly, not just being able to cope, not being able to cope with studying online and also doing things at home. Because honestly, if you're just sitting in front of your phone the whole day, when you're studying, it's gonna be like you not being fair on the others who are also living there, who are doing all the chores.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, so really sorry to hear about that. So wait, did you have to like stop with schoolwork? Did you have to like take a break from school and continue with the internship?
No, the internship it's part of my degree requirement. For a
Ah,
4 year course, you do it in your third year. For a 5 year course, you do it in your fourth year. So I was kind
mm,
of like fulfilling that, but it did impact my project, because that's when the pandemic happened. I had to do a project that I then have had to submit to school at the end of the year. So because of all those months that I missed, I couldn't do the necessary research
mm,
at work, because my project was basically to create a software solution for a problem at work, and you
mm,
need adequate research time, you need to speak to the people there and all that. And when we started going to work, we had workers working in shifts. Although in the IT department there wasn't a lot of us, so we just all came at the same time. But
mm,
so yeah, it became difficult to complete the project, and it was kind of a challenge. And so I think that's actually when I joined the groups that I'm with now. the developer student clubs, as well as the mental health organization that I volunteered for, because I was struggling. Yes, and I realized, okay, maybe I need to join kind of organizations that will help me distribute my time when I'm at home and can't be at work, and also support me in the things that I'm interested in and passionate about. So, yeah, with the mental health, I knew people were struggling. I knew that I was struggling. I had struggled as well. So, I devoted some of my attention to that. And also the developer student clubs. Yes, I figured, if I'm not getting any kind of mentorship at work or any kind of help from school, because school had been shut down for several months,
Mm.
this was the perfect opportunity to not only share knowledge with other people, but also gain something from them as well that would help me with my project. And it did.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how the organization played a role in your life. So it was kind of like a safe space for you, in a way.
Yes, generally, yes. Unfortunately, however, I did manage, although I did manage to reach some people. Like I said, I hadn't been to school in a really long time, so it was
Mm.
hard to reach as many people as I wanted to reach. And also with the data issue, considering that people can't really come to lectures like they're supposed to. So now to convince them to spare their data for extracurricular events and all that, considering
Mm.
not everyone is really passionate about what they do or passionate about technology and all that, it became difficult running the program entirely. And
Yeah.
I did the best that I could. I tried to facilitate via WhatsApp and all that, but it was also hard to get like speakers to come and do WhatsApp events,
Yeah.
because not everyone is present at the time. Not everyone is responding the way you want them to. And for some people, that kind of like I guess it kind of discouraged them. And I'm not gonna lie, it discouraged me for a while as well. But every once in a while, you get someone come into my inbox and be like, "Oh, do you guys do this?" Or "I liked what you guys were doing and whatnot." And it would be a little burst of inspiration, new inspiration again, and
Mm.
then I would carry on trying again. So it is unfortunate that I had to create awareness about this group during a pandemic and didn't reach as many people as I could. But yeah, I did try, I guess.
Yeah.
And being the first leader at my school, my wish would have been for someone to take over, and so that the program can continue at school. But like I said,
Um,
it was during a weird time, and even then, now I haven't returned to school yet. It's been like over a year and a half, and yeah, the little time that we'll be returning will simply be like 2 week lectures, and that's it, which makes it hard to do extracurricular stuff.
mm.
So as much as this program benefited me, my goal was to also have other people draw the same kind of benefit that I did from the program. And although I reached some people, I would have wished to reach a little bit more people. And I just think
Yeah.
it's what made it difficult about working in the pandemic.
Mm. Oh, that is
Yeah.
really, it's a really hard thing now because you doing your last year in school and you're saying you
Mhm.
only have what, 2 weeks of lectures? Is it like for the
Yeah, we
whole
only
year?
have 2 weeks of lectures. No, not for the whole year, just this
Oh,
semester. We have 2 weeks of lectures, and then we go back to online lectures for a whole month, and then we just come back and write exams.
and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
Whoa, and now it's going to be hard to actually like, make an impact on campus so that other people can be inspired to join. I guess it is
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
it is great that people are actually seeing the work that you are doing and they really like, appreciate it or they find it very fascinating, inspirational. But then you, at the same time, want them to, carry on with this program. Because
Yeah, because
it's for students, right?
yeah,
And now you
definitely because
Yeah, and
sorry.
now you, it's okay. Now you actually want to go out into the industry, and no one at your school is going to be left to do this program anymore, which is it's really kind of sucks because now it would have been a really good thing for the school. It would have been really nice to have someone to stay behind and actually, tell people about the program, its benefits. And you say that you've benefited a lot from it. So, yeah, I guess my last question is, what skills have you like drawn from this, and what lessons have you drawn from it too? From both being a GSC lead and also being a student in general during the pandemic, and also having to juggle the mental health organization and also internship on the side. Like bring it all together into one little, list and what you've learned from that.
Uh, Thank you. Sorry. Uh, what I then learned, the use of external resources. I think that is very important because you find maybe what you've been given in class or wherever, you don't really understand that. And then you start to
Yeah.
think, maybe this isn't my thing or whatnot. But I don't think that's the case because sometimes you find resources that explain things in a way that you then understand that thing that you thought was too hard to understand. And I also learned pertaining to coding, I think it's also nice to not exactly specialize in a lot of languages, but at least try other languages because there are concepts, for example, that I didn't quite understand in C, but then understood when I did in C sharp, or concepts that I didn't understand in C sharp, then understood in Python. And also, I think the biggest lesson, the most important life lesson from the mental health organization, the Google group, and school in general is networking. I think that was the one mistake that I was making in life before I did the whole IT thing, but I didn't talk to people. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to pay attention to my books and I'm going to
Mm,
study and I'm not going to need anything else, attend classes and all that. But
yeah.
networking is very important, and except for a few exceptions, most of us aren't going to be good at everything.
True.
So you need, yes, you need a network of people, and you need not to underestimate people such that, what you are good at, they might not be good at, but then where you're then lacking, they might help fill in for you. And also, networking helps with opportunities. There are
Mm,
things that I never would have known about had it not been for the circle of people that were around me. There are some things that you can't just google opportunities and all that. You need to hear about them.
mm,
So with networking, you then find mentorship, people that will help, people that will assist you, people that will relate to your problems and all that, and people that will help you make an impact, and people that will teach you where you're lacking and all that. And I think that's my entire summary of it. The skills are important. Yes, I picked up some skills and also communication and all that, but I want to emphasize on networking.
mm.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest, in, especially in an industry or a field as broad as tech. You need to get, yourself out there in the form of networking. Because honestly, if you don't do it yourself, then no one will do it for you, or no one will approach you if you don't make the initial step. If you don't take the initial step, then no one will come to you and say, here's a job opportunity without you actually going out there and asking people
Yes.
if there's anything happening or if there's a job in this programming language or anything along those lines, then what are you waiting for? Because companies nowadays don't hire based on only your skills, but they also base it on what have you been doing outside of that? How have you been making an impact before you actually came on the job? So I think, yeah, networking also has to be one of my top what can I say, top
Lessons,
skills, yeah, lessons, top lessons that I've
advice,
gained
pieces of
from
advice. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I
it.
think one more thing that I would add would also be like, I don't know if this is cliche, but like shoot your shot,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Because I had never been in a leadership position before, and somehow I managed to. I'm almost done with my time as a Google lead,
Mm,
developer, student developer lead, and besides the hiccups, I would say I gained something from that. I learned something from that. And also, in terms of IT, I know sometimes we think, okay, maybe it's too late for me to start. Maybe I should have started this earlier and
yeah.
whatnot. And I don't think it's ever really too late to start, because I also thought I had my career path set and that I was just going to do science, nothing else. I wasn't even looking elsewhere. And then
Yeah.
somewhere in my 20s, I had to like take a whole U-turn. And even though I didn't know what I was doing, eventually you do end up learning, and it's always good to take a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah. Yeah. True. So I guess that's gonna be the end of the recording, the show. So I just want to say a big thank you to you. I know this has been long, long overdue. It's been almost 2 months now. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for your patience and thank you for actually, taking your time and actually coming to talk to me. Although I thought it was going to be like two of us talking to you, but I really enjoyed it. And just one more thing, just to say where I met you, it was through the what was this? FANG and MTX
Banging.
programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I initially met you, and from then on, we've been like kind of talking, even if it was not for a long time. But here and there, we've talked and we've shared our thoughts, and yeah, I guess it has been like one of it's also networking in a way, I guess, because now you're on the show, and
Networking.
yeah, and it's not like MLSA with a DSC lead. So if there are any kind of like opportunities I see from maybe Google that they're looking for a mobile dev, I know to tell you because you're the only DSC lead I know. So yeah, so thank you very much for coming and taking your time.
And
So
thank
I
you
think
very much for having me, actually. Thank you.
cool then. Chat to you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye.